There are nearly 10,000 known species of modern or recently extinct birds. Traditionally, taxonomists, those who classify living things based on evolutionary relationships, have looked at bird characteristics such as skeletal structure, plumage, and bill shape to determine which birds have a shared evolutionary history. More recently, scientists have turned to deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA, the genetic information found in the cells of all living organisms for clues about relationships among birds. DNA is useful to bird taxonomists because closely related birds have more similar DNA than do groups of birds that are distantly related. DNA comparisons have challenged some of scientists' previous ideas about relationships among birds. For example, these studies have revealed that vultures of the Americas are more closely related to storks than to the vultures of Europe, Asia, or Africa. Another method of categorizing birds focuses on adaptive types, or lifestyles. This system groups together birds that live in similar environments or have similar methods for obtaining food. Even among a given adaptive type, birds show tremendous diversity. Some of the widespread adaptive types of birds are aquatic birds. Aquatic birds obtain most or all of their food from the water. All aquatic birds that live in saltwater environments have salt glands, which enable them to drink seawater and excrete the excess salt. Albatross, shearwaters, storm petrels, and diving petrels are considered the most exclusively marine of all birds. These birds spend much of their time over the open ocean, well away from land. Albatrosses are big, majestic birds that can be found soaring above most of the world's oceans. There are 23 species of albatrosses, though arguably the most famous is the wandering albatross, which is the largest flying bird in the world. The shearwater bird fly with stiff wings and use a shearing flight technique, flying very close to the water and seemingly cutting or shearing the tips of waves to move across wave fronts with the minimum of active flight. This technique gives the group its English name. The storm petrels may be Britain's smallest seabird, but they make up for their size with their impressive lifestyle. They spend most of their time out at sea, only returning to land to have chicks. The diving petrel that dive and swim to catch their food is also a small, chunky seabird, black above and gray and white below, with a stubby black bill and blue feet. Many other birds have aquatic lifestyles, but live closer to land. Among these are penguins, which live in the southernmost oceans near the Antarctic. Some species of penguins spend most of their lives in the water, coming on land only to reproduce and molt. Grebes and divers, or loons, are found on or near lakes. They are unusual among birds because they make their nests on the water, using floating plant materials that they hide among reeds. Pelicans, known for their long bills and huge throat pouches, often switch between salt water and freshwater habitats during the year. Gulls or seagull are generalists among the aquatic birds, feeding largely by scavenging over open water, along shores, or even inland areas. Waterfowl, a group that includes ducks, geese, and swans, often breed on freshwater lakes and marshes, although they sometimes make their homes in marine habitats. Wading birds. Many long-legged, long-billed birds are adapted to live at the junction of land and water. Large wading birds, including herons, storks, ibises, spoonbills, and flamingos, are found throughout the world, except near the poles. These birds wade in shallow water or across mudflats, wet fields, or similar environments to find food. Depending on the species, large wading birds may eat fish, frogs, shrimp, or microscopic marine life. Many of the large wading birds gather in enormous groups to feed, sleep, or nest. Shorebirds often inhabit puddles or other shallow bodies of water. The diversity of shorebirds is reflected in their varied bill shapes and leg lengths. The smallest North American shorebirds, called stints or peeps, have short, thin bills that enable them to pick at surface prey, whereas curlews probe with their long bills for burrowing shellfish and marine worms that are beyond the reach of most other shore feeders. Avocets and stilts have long legs and long bills, both of which help them to feed in deeper water. The scarlet ibis is one of 30 species of wading birds characterized by a long neck and legs. It has bright red plumage and dwells in the marshes, lakes, and shallow coastal waters of Venezuela and Brazil. They use these long beaks and their long legs to wade through shallow water and forage for food. Bird of prey. Among the best-known birds are the birds of prey. Some, including hawks, eagles, and falcons, are active during the daytime. Others, notably owls, are nocturnal or active at night. Birds of prey have hooked beaks, strong talons or claws on their feet, and keen eyesight and hearing. The larger hawks and eagles prey on small mammals, such as rodents and other vertebrates. Some birds of prey, such as the osprey and many eagles, eat fish. Falcons eat mainly insects, and owls, depending on the species, have diets ranging from insects to fish and mammals. Scavengers that feed on dead animals are also considered birds of prey. These include relatives of eagles called Old World vultures, which live in Eurasia and Africa, and the condors and vultures of North and South America. A flying eagle snatches a fish from the water with its long, curved talons. It will carry the fish to a feeding place on land before devouring it. Eagles hunt only during the day. By night, they perch safely in their nests or in some other high spot. Running birds. Some birds, including the largest of all living birds, have lost the ability to fly. The ostriches and their relatives rheas, emus, cassowaries, and kiwis are flightless birds found in Africa, South America, and Australia, including New Guinea and New Zealand. The tinamous of Central and South America are related to the ostrich group, but they have a limited ability to fly. Other birds that feed primarily on the ground and are excellent runners include the bustards, relatives of the cranes, and megapodes, members of a group of chicken-like birds that includes quail, turkeys, pheasants, and grouse. Vegetation is an important part of the diets of running birds. Originally domesticated by the Aztecs, the common turkey, or the Rio Grande gobbler, ranges from Mexico to the northern forests of North America. It can run at speeds of up to 24 kilometers per hour, 15 miles per hour. In the wild, the common turkey may enjoy a lifespan of up to 12 years. The emu, Dromaeosaurus novaeholandii, is a large, flightless bird native to Australia. Emus roam the western half of the continent in mass movements that may involve as many as 70,000 birds. They depend on the fruits, seeds, and flowers that grow in areas of recent rainfall, and must migrate once they have depleted local sources. Male emus incubate the species' eggs and raise the young. Perching birds. More than half of all living species of birds are perching birds. Perching birds have been successful in all terrestrial habitats. Typically small birds, perching birds have a distinctive arrangement of toes and leg tendons that enables them to perch acrobatically on small twigs. They have the most well-developed and complex vocalizations of all birds. They are divided into two main groups, the suboscines, which are mainly tropical and include tyrant flycatchers, antbirds, and ovenbirds, and the oscines or songbirds, which make up about 80% of all perching bird species, among them the familiar sparrows, finches, warblers, crows, blackbirds, thrushes, and swallows. Some birds of this group catch and feed upon flying insects. An example is the swallow, which opens its mouth in a large trap-like gape to gather food. One specialized group, the dippers, is aquatic. Its members obtain their food during short dives in streams and rivers. Townsend's solitaire, Myodestes townsendi, belongs to the thrush family, and is sometimes called the fly-catching thrush. Like other thrushes, Townsend's solitaire is a songbird. The male perches in mountain or canyon trees and sings in winter and spring. Other land birds. Many other groups of birds thrive in terrestrial habitats. Parrots, known for their brilliantly colored plumage, form a distinctive group of tropical and southern temperate birds that inhabit woodlands and grasslands. Fisher's lovebirds, found in Africa and Madagascar, are small, colorful members of the parrot family. Lovebirds get their name from their characteristic head-to-head sitting position. Doves and pigeons, like parrots, are seed and fruit eaters, but are more widespread and typically more subdued in color. The cuckoos, including the tree-dwelling species such as the European cuckoo, whose call is mimicked by the cuckoo clock, and ground-inhabiting species such as roadrunners, are land birds. Hummingbirds are a group of nectar and insect-feeding land birds whose range extends from Alaska to the tip of South America. Woodpeckers and their relatives thrive in forests. Kingfishers are considered land birds despite their habit of eating fish.